they know what the answer is, I guess.
Yeah, we've met with Lisa Moody, her boss, Gail Marsmith. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, it was a struggle there to pull that one out this late in the evening. Anyways, we met with them. They're committed to working with us on trying to get the access that Mr. Baldwin was referring to. Timetable uncertain on that, but they did indicate their willingness to continue the discussions. And like you pointed out, Mr. McGreer, there is the issue of them being prohibited from coming out and doing the studies that they need to do from an archaeological and other aspects. And that's one of the things that we've kind of talked to them about, other ways that might be able to be accomplished so that it doesn't delay our effort to get the right-of-way done.
Super. Okay, thank you.
We do have a good dialogue going on with them right now.
Yeah, I talked to Gail too, and I just, yeah, that's right.
Being able to get some of this wording that's in the letter into committee, it seems like that would be an interesting prospect if we could get that in committee and have it actually discussed, rather than just receiving a letter, from an office. Do we know how to proceed with that and move that forward so we can get that? Okay, so we're familiar with how to, because I think it'd be worth its while just to have that discussed at a committee level, so it's not just a letter. But I still have my doubts as far as the BLM goes. I think we can get all this done and still face some issues. I really would like to get the right-of-way done before this all comes down. But I think that might be worth looking into, so if we can get that wording actually into committee, have them discuss it, and so it becomes part of some minutes, part of the document.
And I guess on top of that, it sounds to me like one of the important things is not only getting it in the plan, but then or in the legislation, but then getting it into the management plan. How do you do that? Does anybody know that?
Now, if a board member...
Mike, do you know that?
Yeah, I think it's very...
Plan?
Yeah, we can talk about that. I can talk to the staff about that, but that's the key.
Now, if a board member needs to go to D.C., I suddenly had an opening in my schedule, and I'd like a night in the Lincoln bedroom.
I think one of the things that we heard tonight, or a couple of people on both sides of the fence said, is that it's very possible this is going to happen either as an NCA or as a national monument. And the question is, do we sit back and bury our heads in the sand until that paper's already written, or do we get ahead of it? And I think the way to get ahead of it is to address Reed's bill and talk about getting the right language in there so that when it goes to committee, we're in on the ground floor. And I know shit can happen later. But
Whoa.
But
good thing Mary wasn't here. She'd have said
He's from New York.
But that's but that stuff is going to happen regardless of whether we've got our feet in here and our voice in here. And if we don't get our voice in early, it's definitely not going to go in our favor. Right. So we have an opportunity here because President GoldButte's been pushing hard with President Obama to just make it a national monument. Well, guess what? If it's an NCA or a national monument, then there's a plan and then there's stuff happening. So an NCA with stuff in a bill protecting our needs and our water rights, along with the understanding that an NCA, I mean, you pointed out very, very well, Tom pointed out, it's going to protect the purity and safety. You can move in a direction, whether you support Gold Butte or not, to realize that we want to be in there and involved before it happens. Because if we're after the fact, we're not going to have the same strength. Thank you.
That's true.
And I just want to clarify a comment made about Friends of Gold Butte. We support permanent protection for Gold Butte. So we support a protected solution that preserves and conserves that land, meaning that it conserves the uses on that land too for our future generations. We feel that it is a very good thing for the city of Mesquite and for this region to protect that land. And whether that's an NCA with, as specified in this bill, a national conservation area, We've been pushing for that for years, or it's a national monument. We support either solution. We feel that that land needs to be protected, but I do feel that there is an opportunity for the Virgin Valley Water District to see their language in that NCA bill by requesting that, and so we would fully support that as well.
You know, and Gary kind of hit on it, but that's kind of why I brought this forward, is because we've kind of had the push you, pull me discussions on this, when I think really we could have a bipartisan, and I like the idea of a committee working to get the water right. Because I haven't heard anybody on either side of the fence say, we don't think the water rights should be protected.
The way we've been talking tonight, there is no fence.
Yeah, we've got a kumbaya moment.